Hey guys, welcome back. So today we want to talk about a new handgun from Walther that's creating quite a stir. And I think it's probably one of the biggest marketing faux pas in modern history. And, you know, Smith & Wesson made the same mistake. We'll get a little bit into that in this video. But it's the new Walther PDP-F. The F stands for presumably female, and the gun was designed for the female shooter in mind. The only problem is men love the thing too. So a lot of my friends had picked these up already, male shooters that were saying, man, this thing feels so much better than the regular PDP. This thing's awesome, but it has that F designation. Now, at least they didn't put Ladysmith on the side like Smith & Wesson did back in the day,
right?
Really limiting the sales. But by putting that F in there for female versus something like slim frame or reduced frame, you know, something like that, you know, they had to go and put that F in there. And you and I both know that macho men are never going to buy a female's handgun. They're going to just buy the male version. So they've limited their market by doing that. But we want to talk about the F model, what they changed about it, and what I actually love about the gun. I think it's really, really cool. Mm-hmm. So when you get your new F model, it comes in a standard, you know, case that Walther's been using for their existing PDPs.
Freaking huge case.
It's a huge case. Has a lot of stuff in it. But you'll get your magazine loading tool. You'll get an extra back strap, owner's manual, of course, the federal lock. But then we just want to grab the pistol out itself and close this up. It's a nice case. It's a nice presentation. So weapon's empty. I'll just show you the magazine so you can see. So this is the new F series. And if you take a look at it, what they've done is they've narrowed the grip, gotten rid of the kind of the palm swells. They've gone to more of a back flat face, kind of like the 1911s where they got rid of the hump. This is more flat than the previous version because the PDP and the other Walthers had kind of an exaggerated grip. It felt good, but this feels better to me. And then they've shortened the distance between the face of the trigger and the rear of the grip right here for smaller hands. Now, I have apish sized hands. I have the smallest grip panel on here, and I like the way the gun feels. It fits my hand really good for a compact carry gun. Two different versions of this. This is the longer version. You can tell which one has the longer barrel and which one doesn't by the number of 1913 rails that are on the bottom. This has 3, so this is a longer barrel. The shorter barrel will only have 2 1913 rails down there. The guns come with decent sights, micro-adjustable tool to make the adjustments to the rear sight for elevation and windage, and then it comes with a 2.0 mounting plate, and that's another thing I want to talk about because that was one of our original complaints with the original PDP. And here you can see the grip frame, how it kind of has more curvature to it. It has these palm swells on the side. It's just a larger grip. This thing feels good, but the angle at which this goes into my hand is a more natural shooting angle. This one has a tendency to kind of point down, and it makes me want to cock my wrist up. This is more natural because my wrist doesn't want to move. It's not like a Glock where it pushes it down. The PDP kind of points up. This thing points straight for me, which lends to how well I shoot the gun. And so we did some shooting with it, and I thought it fit my hands great. What about you? What did you think of the gun?
Well, what I immediately noticed off the thing, it's almost like they bought out Glock's old adjustable rear sights or something here.
So right.
Because they are the, just regular white dot polymer sights, right? And I always hated that Glock adjustable rear sight. It was always just dumb. So that was on there. But the grip on this handgun definitely feels better than the original PDP. For me, when I would actually, grip this handgun and use it and point it, it did give me my natural point of aim. Whenever I presented the handgun, the sights were already lined up right where I needed them to be. That was nice. I'm able to get a really deep grip right inside of that point there and wrap my fingers around. It's got this nice little undercut here where my fingers can get deeper in there. So the grip on this pistol, to me, is actually really nice. I actually like it.
Yeah.
And I shot this pistol really well. Now, I handed this to, my wife. She didn't want to shoot it that day. She had just gotten off work and wanted nothing to do with anything other than sit down and chill. But she actually is one of those, and it drives me crazy, but she'll have her hand in a grip and there'll be some airspace in between here. I'm like, what do you get your hand up in there.
Right.
So This pistol, when she held it, it got rid of a lot of her, airspace.
It forces your hand into the right position.
It was forcing her hand up and getting support inside of here. And then I was like, all right, now rack the slide and see what it feels like to you. She was able to easily, rack the slide back, and she actually liked the way it felt, liked the way it racked. So in terms of female, this got an A+ in her mind, and she's not an everyday shooter. She just, guns are great. We love having them, but I don't shoot every day. She liked the pistol. But again, when you have that F in there for presumably female, there are men out there, and it's just like, like you said, I can't have a lady's pistol, So they do. They limit their marketing in terms of, when they find out that's just some female's pistol, they just instantly write it off when they shouldn't.
They should have just marketed it as like what Glock did with their, slim frame, the SF version. It was either, I forget what that stood for.
I think it was like
special frame or
something like that.
Right. So they could have done the same thing with this. They didn't have to say this is a woman's firearm. This is a gun for people with smaller hands or prefer a smaller grip. By putting that F in there, and all the blog posts and stuff I've read,
magazine
like
articles.
female, yeah, like I was just looking at an article, and when we were getting ready to go out and film some of the B-roll for today's video, I was looking at that article, and it's all about females.
Nice.
And I'm like, dude, that is the worst marketing ever, because it's so much, the market for this is so much more broad.
Yep.
Because people with big hands, medium hands, I let my son shoot this. He has smaller hands than mine, considerably smaller hands than mine for now, and he was able to shoot it very comfortably. And he agreed that compared to the original PDP, it's a superior grip angle.
Yep.
And so, and I don't want to get too much into the PDP. It's already been talked about in other videos, pretty ad nauseum. I'll just quickly touch upon some of the features. That this gun does have a new 2.0 slide cut for red dot sights. In our original video, we dinged Walther pretty hard when I went to put a red dot sight on the gun. This one. When I took the mounting plate off, I realized the cut on the slide was smooth. Okay, had 2 mounting holes for screws for an adapter plate. The guns do not ship with an adapter plate. Still to this day, Walther does not ship a single adapter plate with the gun. You get a little QR code. You have to register your gun with Walther, which I don't even want to register myself with Walther anymore. I want to register myself with the government. But you do that, and then you get 1 free mounting plate of your choice, and it comes like in 2 weeks. I did it with the first gun just to see how long it took, but it's annoying. So I went to CHPWS and got a proper mounting plate. And actually, this may actually be the one that I waited on.
No,
I think I did order the CWPS.
I'm pretty sure you ended up going with a Walther one, but it didn't have any lateral support.
Right. Well, that's where I was going. Is the problem is it's supported because it sets down in the slide front to rear. So if you hit it this way or hit it this way, it's not going to move. But it has no lateral support. There's no ridge in there. So if I hit this hard enough from the side, the only thing holding this sight on are 2 little tiny screws that might have 5 threads biting into the slide. And so if you hit this, drop it hard enough from the side, you can damage the sight. And it's one of the things we hit it really hard for in the video. Like, that was just pure engineering stupidity. And that should have been caught early on. Well, going over to CHPWS's website, looking for a mounting plate for this one, they have the 2.0 version. They show you the differences, but now they have actually included a ridge along the middle of it and the screw holes on the side. And so now you have both forward and lateral support of the slide for the red dot sight. So Walther did listen to the criticisms that were being leveled by various reviewers. But the gun overall, I mean, from the original PDP, I like the gun. It feels good. It shoots well, has great slide serrations. We'll talk more about the F.
There's some meaty slide serrations.
Yeah, they're meaty, but they don't cut.
No.
Like, I've seen some that look really aggressive, and they like hurt to run if you grab them too tightly. These are just right.
They are.
So if you got mud, blood, dirt, sand, whatever, you can get a hold of these very easily. This is much better than other models that we've seen out there on the market that have very faint slide serrations that with wet hands you can't even draw the slide to the rear. So the gun overall, it's reliable. It has the PDT trigger system in it, so it has a really nice crisp trigger, one of the better striker fired pistols out there. So
to me, it felt pretty heavy but crisp.
Yeah, I have to buy a new trigger gauge because we've lost mine, but it has ambi controls, ambi slide stop on both sides and a reversible magazine release. But you can kind of see with the trigger here. Let me see if I can do this where the camera can see it. So weapon's clear. I put my finger on the face of the trigger. It does have an inertial safety, very similar to Glock. And once you take up the safety, then start to pull back, it kind of hits a shelf, a little bit of creep, and bang. Good trigger, not the best. I'd say the VP9 probably still holds the best trigger. But
the P10C and the VP9
and the
are some
P10C,
of the best.
yeah. So it's not horrible. I like 5.5, 6 pound triggers on carry guns, just because when the adrenaline's flowing, I don't want a 3 pound trigger. I know you're supposed to keep your finger off the trigger, but when things go sideways, it's hard to say what you're going to do. I just like that extra safety feature of that. But I do like the ambi controls. It's very simple. The slide stop, slide release is the same size on both sides of the gun. It's very long, but even with, we were having problems with some of the other guns I shoot where I get false locks or I don't get lock opens because my thumb rides that slide stop, slide release. And on that gun, and with the original PDP, even though they changed the grip angle, even shortened it, putting that slide stop even closer to my thumbs, it works fine. I don't have any problems with false locks or not locking open on it.
I noticed that with you, and I noticed that with myself shooting this pistol. It did not get in the way. It's very long, you know what I mean? But it didn't get in the way. So I didn't have the false locks, releases. I know the trigger is definitely, predictable. I know under firing, you release and get back on the wall of the trigger. That was very easy to feel, very tactile, so it's nice to do. But
Good
one
reset.
of the things that I liked about it as well, the trigger is a little heavy, but that's fine. Like you say, on a duty gun or a carry gun, I would rather have it a little heavy than super light. But in terms of the way this grip is and how deep that I can get on there and the trigger reset, the recoil control I was able to do with this pistol, I liked.
Yeah.
I was able to, this
Very
was
flat
actually
shooting.
a flat shooting pistol just based on how well I could get a good, deep, solid grip in this pistol. So I really liked this gun. I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite Walthers, and I don't really care for many of them.
Like the PPQ,
Right.
like the slide serrations, I hated them.
Yep.
And I didn't like the gun in general. I think the PDP was a step forward. I think it's an improvement over the PPQ. But
Still looks chunky on the top. Their slide definitely looks, like...
And the sights are shallow, right? The front sight's very shallow. The rear sight's very shallow. I like a broader sight picture on a fighting handgun. This is definitely marketed towards the concealed carry market. Therefore, I would prefer to see something like an X sight type of, deep U rear, V-notch rear, nice big U, white outline, night sights, probably an option. The gun doesn't...
the F model just...
Why do
we
that?
laughed about it just because the magazine article, and it was just like this, dainty little female hands with a big diamond ring on there, with like, come on, man, this pistol.
It's so much broader in market appeal.
Yep.
You don't give up anything, so it's standard 15-round magazine. It's going to be a Glock 19 sized pistol. I think it feels much better than the Glock 19, as Glock sits around on its laurels, and it keeps producing the same gun over and over again for 4 decades. Other companies like Walther and SIG and other companies are innovating and biting more and more into Glock's market share, and I think this is really going to bite into the Glock 19's market share, because I think more people are going to pick this up, feel it, and hopefully look past the F designation, the males, and give this thing a try, because I was kind of indifferent to it until I saw some of my other buddies, my peers in the industry, talking about the guns and reviewing them, private Facebook conversations. I'm like, okay, I gotta go check this out. Matt, who used to write for us over at the Bang Switch, he was one of the ones that said, dude, you gotta check this thing out. This grip is just amazing.
I really like that gun, and when you first got the PDP, or this thing first came out, I was instantly turned off by it. I thought it was chunky on the top. The slide looks ridiculous. I didn't like the grip. I mean, it's comfortable, but I didn't really care for it. I did not care for this pistol at all.
Right.
That particular one, while the slide is still chunky looking, I really like to shoot that gun.
I do too.
I
don't like the
blast with that
sights,
thing.
but that's about it. And I put a red dot sight on it. You have to get the 2.0, so be very careful if you're looking to put a red dot sight on this. The mounting plate's out there. If you don't order one from Walther, if you go to CHPWS or something like that, you have to make sure you have the version 2.0. I was just on their website looking for a mounting plate because I prefer their mounting plates. They're the best in the industry, and they're doing pre-orders for these. So this update is relatively new to their lineup, but I believe they're carrying it across the entire PDP line now, fixing that error that they had made. So magazine release drops clear, mags, load nice and easy. The checkering is not overly done, but it's still very positive. You have that offhand shooting notch in the front with some, horizontal serrations for those people that still like to do the 90s thing and wrap their finger around the trigger guard. Not a fan of that. The Browning action is popular for a reason. For over 100 years, it's been kind of the way to go because it's so simple, so reliable, so durable, and robust. And yeah, I think they did an excellent implementation with the F model. They just shouldn't have called it the F. Mm-hmm. Price on these things, they're retailing at local stores. A competitor got this in was $6.99. I imagine that price will come down. They should be in the mid fives. They'll be more competitive with the Glocks, I think, price wise. Once the newness wears off, I think they'll come down. You'll probably be able to get them for closer to $6 or $6.50 at least.
Absolutely. I mean, list price on things always generally comes down. You got map pricing, all that good stuff. But then the used market, I'm sure people get them a little bit cheaper or whatever it may be in time. I agree with you. I think it's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard is that you have to register your firearm to get your plate. Yeah. Like I said, I don't want to register anything with anyone for any reason.
Right.
So just put the plate in the box. I mean, I could literally cuss right now about stuff like that. But
right. I mean, just do like some of the other companies are doing. Mm-hmm. Just put, 4 or 5 different high-density polymer plates in there. Once they set up the molds, those things cost nothing to produce. Just tack on $10 to the cost or $20 to the cost of the gun. But give me some mounting plates so when I buy my gun and go home, I can put a sight on it. I don't have to sit and wait for 2 weeks. Yep. I wanted to point out, it's kind of interesting, the back strap. This is the thicker back strap, but it's not much, but it's really cool. It's soft.
I don't think I've ever checked this out. Let's check this
right.
out.
So I'm so used to polymer, like the Glocks, I could used to be able to squeeze. Like the actual frame on this is very difficult, very tough. Like a Glock, I can pinch the mag. Well, I can't do that. But yeah, they made the back straps a more pliable rubber. Maybe that contributes to the comfort factor during recoil. I mean, I thought that to be really, really interesting.
It could. I do have to say though, I enjoyed the recoil impulse of that gun.
Yep. So have that 1913 rail down there for just standard accessories. And, Walther is a premium brand. They stand behind their products. And, I highly recommend it. I really did enjoy shooting it. I think that even if you have big hands, if you see one at a local gun shop, pick it up, try it. I think you're going to agree with us. It feels much better than the original design.
It does.
And hopefully they'll come out with another version of it and just kind of let the F fall off and, just call it the, I don't know, PDP-SF or,
Right. So
whatever.
something, because we do know there's, and we see it, we do see it here at the gun shop. There are still like you say, the man's man that's like, I ain't going to have no female pistol or something like that. Right. And it's like, dude, you just don't know what you're missing.
Get over it. Yeah. Just deal with it.
Right.
So nobody's going to walk by and like, look, he's carrying a girl's gun.
Right.
Nobody knows.
There's many
nobody
girls
cares.
out there that are in competitions. They're in everything, and they are incredible at what they do. Heck, one of my favorite guns my wife enjoyed to shoot was a Desert Eagle. The full size, I always thought it was the weirdest thing, but that's what she preferred to pull out of the case and shoot the most. And I was just like, have at it.
Because I hate shooting them.
Yep.
But yeah, I highly recommend the F. I think you should check it out. I really like the CHP-WS mounting plates. Take a look at those if you're going to put a red dot sight on the gun. The price is going to be competitive. They seem to be readily available. Because they're showing up on dealer shelves. I know a lot of my friends have already started picking them up. They come in a couple of different barrel length sizes. Pick the one that works for you. It should work. I don't know because I don't have a holster for my PDP, but the parts, the only thing that's really different, this whole upper half is going to be the same with current production PDPs. It's just the frame that is different. If you take a look at the trigger guards and things like that, and the triggers with the, they have the same type of trigger in them, the same trigger mechanism in them. It should fit similar holsters that maybe you already have. I don't know. I haven't
Just
tried
like
it.
Anything else, always buy a holster designed for the
gun.
pistol.
Right, because if you don't, you can have discharges that are very unintentional. And so, yeah, overall, striker fired, polymer frame, very flat shooting, update the sights, and I think you'd have a winner on your hands.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we look forward to the comments, what you think about the Walther F series of the PDP. Tell us what you think about calling it the F series. Does that bother you? Would that dissuade you from buying the gun? For me, it doesn't. I just think it's funny, but I just think it's a horrible marketing ploy. But I look forward to those comments down below. Share your thoughts with us. We do read those comments, and sometimes it gives us content ideas. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms Channel, the best possible way to do that is to become part of our Patreon family. There is a link down below to Patreon. Check it out. Follow the link. Go over there. Check it out. See some of the perks, and consider supporting us over on Patreon. Right here on YouTube, you got that little join button you're watching right now underneath the video player. Just click that join button. You can support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. And last but not least, please swing by, check out coppercustom.com. Let me get tongue-tied right at the very end of the video. And we want to thank you for 14 years of support. We do love you guys. Please be safe out there, and we will talk to you soon.
Take care, guys.